Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Apprenticeships live Q&A today at our virtual open day. I'm going to hand you over to Liz and Debbie, who will tell you a little bit more about apprenticeships here at the SMB Group.
Good morning. So if I can just introduce myself, I'm Liz. I'm the Student Opportunities Coordinator, and I deal with young people who are looking for an apprenticeship. I try and match them to apprenticeships and assess them if necessary, and give advice, and also go out to schools and give advice. Do you want to introduce yourself, Debbie, first, and then we'll...
Yeah, so I'm Debbie Perkins. I'm the Senior Apprenticeship Advisor, so I head up a team that includes Liz, but also a team of apprenticeship advisors who speak to employers all across the Midlands and beyond, and about obviously taking apprentices on in their companies with the benefits and everything, and then we then obviously help to match up applicants to those vacancies and hopefully get everybody set up and the training sorted. So
do you want to come back to me then?
Yeah.
Am I live? All right. Yeah. So I'll just tell you a little bit about what an apprenticeship is, if you don't already know. We call an apprenticeship a period of work-based learning. So basically it's like a real job with training. You spend 80% of your time out with the employer and 20% of your time back at college. At college, we're teaching you the theory behind what you're learning out with the employer, and you'll get nationally recognised qualifications at the end of this if you complete, and certificates. So you're paid for an apprenticeship. You're paid a minimum of £4.15 an hour. Now that's the minimum employers can pay. They can pay whatever they like, and some do pay considerably more. It's set at that rate, because for that you're getting quite a lot for your money. You're getting a lot of training from the employer, and you're also getting a lot of training and a nationally recognised qualification from us. So you're not just expected to go out and know everything in an apprenticeship. You're taught, you have a mentor who teaches you and looks after you. You will get paid holidays, and you get a contract of employment. You can go on an apprenticeship at any age, so you can go on one at 16 when you leave school, but you can go on one at any age at all, so you don't have to rush onto an apprenticeship. There's different levels of apprenticeships, and the entry requirements vary depending on the apprenticeship, so we'll probably go into that a little bit more later. So then if I hand over to Debbie, she can just tell you about how you would go about finding an apprenticeship, because I'm sure that's something that you'll all want to know.
Okay, so yeah, so if you're obviously decided that actually you think an apprenticeship is right for you, there's a few ways that you can go about it. The first thing I would say is by all means log your details with us, and I think the website, the email address will be on our website, and certainly on the presentation that we've got for you this morning. So log your details with us, and we can obviously start to work with you and give you any help and assistance. One of the other key things you should do is go onto the National Apprenticeship Service website, and just Google find an apprenticeship, and basically that will show you apprenticeships around the country. You can put your postcode in and put a 5-mile radius, or 10 mile, or 15, or even the whole of England if you want to, and you can obviously find apprenticeships. You can put keywords in, so if you know you definitely want to do bricklaying, for instance, you can put that in. If you're not too sure what you want to do and you just want to know what opportunities are, you can leave that blank, and again it will show you all the opportunities local to your area, and it might actually bring up things that you'd not considered previously, because as Liz said, it's quite wide ranging now, from level 2 all the way up to sort of degree level. So obviously that gives you a good understanding. There's also lots of useful information on the National Apprenticeship Service as well, about apprenticeships in general, testimonies from employers, previous apprentices. So lots of useful information on there. So that's a good place to start. The other thing you can do, if you know what you're wanting to do and what sort of area, is to be proactive, to get a CV sorted. and basically send that CV to local companies. So companies that you know you're going to be able to get to every day, because obviously it's important that you're going to be able to get to work by the allotted time. So it's no point applying for something 100 miles away if you're not going to be able to get there. But yeah, so send your CV to local companies and just see if they've got any opportunities, see if they're willing to give you a work trial. That has worked very well for some of our apprentices in the past, that we've spoken to them at this stage or at one of our school leaver information sessions, and then they've come back to us, you know, given that advice, have come back to us and said, yeah, found my employer, can you sort my training out? So that's another good way to find an apprenticeship. And also friends and family, if you know if they know of any opportunities that are going, or any, you know, they work for a company that you'd quite like to perhaps go and work for or train with, then definitely see if you can use your connections to get a foot in the door and an interview, if nothing else. Many employers, even if they haven't necessarily got an opportunity at the moment, will obviously, you know, give you the courtesy of coming back to you and pointing you in the right direction. That's that. Have we got some questions then, Meg? I think we've got some questions coming in.
Yes, we have. So someone's asked, like, what would the breakdown be of how many days a week you'd be sort of at work in the industry, and when you'd be in college?
Okay, so do you want me to carry on with that one, Liz?
Don't mind. Yeah.
Yeah. So it definitely depends on the apprenticeship and obviously what level you're doing. As a general rule, you will spend 20% or a minimum of 20% of your time on your apprenticeship learning what they call off-the-job skills. Now, and off-the-job knowledge. That doesn't necessarily mean that you are away from work. Sometimes you might be learning how to use a machine, you know, a particular machinery for the first time, or a particular task in an office or something. So it's where you are learning new skills. So that's obviously where you do that. But as a general rule, majority of the apprenticeships that we run at the SMB group have either day release, so you come to college 1 day a week, or block release, where you might come to college for a week or 2 weeks at a time, and then you have a few weeks back with your employer before coming back for another block. But say sometimes it can be delivered in the setting. Sometimes, especially at the moment, we might be doing it remotely. So you might be on your laptop at home or in the office, and your lecturer will be speaking to you. So it's very much dependent on obviously what program you're on. But as part of that, you'll have, you know, as part of the interview process, we can clarify that. As part of your induction, you'll be told exactly what's happening. So so yeah, hopefully you'll know exactly what's happening depending on the program that you're on.
Shall I just say a little bit about the entrance requirements for? Yeah. So basically for apprenticeships there are entry requirements, and the things that we're really interested in is your English and maths. We need to know about this because there is the educational content. Then we need to know that you will be able to do the work that we're going to set you. So for the different levels, there are different levels required of English and maths. And it is, you know, I must stress the English and maths that is important. So if you're listening to this at the moment and you're at school and you want an apprenticeship, work as hard as you possibly can to get the best grade you possibly can in your English and maths. If you can hit that magic grade 4, then it means that you won't be required to do that again, either as part of an apprenticeship or as part of a course. So do bear that in mind, because it really will help you in the future, and it'll certainly help you when looking for an apprenticeship. One thing we always do recommend when looking for an apprenticeship is that you do have a plan B. Finding an apprenticeship, like I said before, is like finding a job. There's no guarantee that one will be there when you leave school. So make sure that you've got something to fall back on. For example, if you want to be a plumber, you could apply for a plumbing course with us at college. If you want to be in hospitality, look at applying perhaps for one of our hospitality courses. Think about having something definite there. And then if you do go on a college course, you can still continue to look for an apprenticeship, because apprenticeships run throughout the year. They're sort of on a rolling programme, they recruit throughout the year, whereas college courses, of course, just run on the academic year. So make sure that you're making, you've got something there, as I say, to fall back on. Also, we do find that employers really do like people who have got a little bit of experience. So it is worth considering going on a course first, because all the time you're learning the skills that's going to take you forward towards an apprenticeship. So I think that, you know, that's something that you could really think about if you do want an apprenticeship. The other thing is, I know Debbie mentioned about getting your CV out to employers. That is something really useful, because it does genuinely happen. Just this week, on Thursday, I had a young man who I saw this time last year at school, and I explained to him the same things as we're explaining to you now. He came to us at the Stevenson campus on the plumbing course. He's continued to look for employers all the time, and he rang me on Thursday and said, Liz, I found one. I found somebody who will take me. So we got in touch with that employer, and then we can set up that apprenticeship. We can do the off-the-job training, and it's an apprenticeship for him. He'll start in the new year. So, you know, it is worth it. In my experience, it is the people who are really on it, who are really keen. They're looking on the National Apprenticeship website, they're getting on a course to learn the skills, and they're sending off the CVs, who are the people who, you know, who do get the apprenticeships. You might ask, what sort of apprenticeships do we have? Well, I hope that you've looked at our PowerPoint about apprenticeships. That does list all the ones that we've got at the Melton, at the Brooksby and at the Stevenson campus. But the important thing with an apprenticeship really is where the employer is, you know, that you can get to that. But we have them in all sorts of different types, in the trades, in engineering, in hairdressing, whatever you want to be. Most areas, you know, we have got apprenticeships, but the lists are on the PowerPoint that we've put in. We've also got some really new exciting ones coming in. We're doing forestry now and things like that, and it's, you know, it's worth just looking what we've got and looking on our website on the website as well, but certainly on the PowerPoint that we've done. Is there any other questions or anything you want to add, Debbie? Or?
No, am I on? Okay. Yeah, I mean, as I say, I think the only thing I would say is obviously 2020 has been a really difficult year for a lot of people, including a lot of employers, and we have seen the number of apprenticeships go down this year. We are still talking to employers, and as Liz has just said, that, you know, they are still out there. You just might need to look a bit harder to find them. So definitely, as I say, have your eyes open to every opportunity. So National Apprenticeship Service, and send your CV to lots of companies. So we don't know what 2021 has in store. You know, it might be obviously another challenging year, shall we say, but my team say work across all 3 campuses, across all of the Midlands, identifying areas. So as and when we've got vacancies, we will make them available on our own websites as well as the National Apprenticeship Service website. But as Liz has said, perhaps consider your backup plan or your plan B for next September, just in case you're not successful. And then we can continue working with you. Once you're on our radar, we will obviously, you know, Liz will work with you to try and help as much as possible. There is a guide to producing a CV, again, on our PowerPoint that we've got this morning, our presentation this morning. So if you want any sort of initial ideas, there's there. And again, you know, we're more than happy to look at that with you and give you any hints and tips as to how you can improve that, if you want us to do that before you do start to send it out to anybody. So yeah, we're here to help as much as possible, but it is obviously all about finding the employer. As Liz says, we can't set up the training and enrol you on an apprenticeship until we've got an employer for you. So I mean, the biggest thing employers say is it's attitude. If you've got a willingness to learn, and you've got your English and maths in the bag, because that is obviously key to be able to get on the apprenticeship. But if you've got a willingness to learn, a lot of the other skills they will teach you along the way. And, you know, with your time in college and your time working with a mentor at your company, that's where you become the, you know, the qualified person, and hopefully go on to have a really full career with the company. Any more questions come in then, Meg?
Yeah, kind of leading on from that, really. Someone's asked, does an apprenticeship guarantee a job sort of at the company you're working on, or with another company?
No, there's no guarantees. As with any job, you know, these days, that, you know, I think a job for life is gone. Those days have gone. So there's no guarantee. But a lot of companies, because they are investing in you, obviously, you know, some of these apprenticeships can be up to 4 years long. So if you've been with them for 4 years, and they've invested time and money and trained you to their standard, a lot of the times they're not just going to wave you goodbye at the end of it, because they then want you to obviously be a contribute to their future successes. But sometimes, for whatever reason, they have to let you go. So again, when you start with a company, there's 2 types of contract they'll give you. So you have to have a contract of employment. Sometimes they'll give you a permanent contract, which means, yeah, they foresee you being with them for a long time. Sometimes it might be a fixed term contract. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get rid of you at the end of that period. It just might be how they work, and then they'll reassess it and give you a new contract once you're qualified. But yeah, I think the percentages again are on our PowerPoint, and I'm not sure, Liz, if you know what the percentages are, but it's a really high percentage of apprentices do stay with their current employer. And even if they're not able to stay, obviously what you have got is valuable work experience, valuable qualifications, which means that very often another employer will obviously then snap you up and go to work for them. You got anything to add to that, Liz?
No, I think that is the case. That even if I think nationally, the statistics for people getting kept on is about 90%, something like that. You know, there's, yeah, I mean, most employers want an apprentice because they want to refresh their workforce. They're investing in you. They want you to stay at the end of it. But if for any reason they can't, or you don't get kept on, you have got that valuable work experience, and that is so valuable, because, you know, employers do love to see people who've actually worked out in the workplace, and this is what an apprenticeship is giving you. Some people choose after an apprenticeship to move on, you know, to another company or whatever, because they've got that experience, and that enables them to do that. So it is the work experience you get is really very, very valuable. One thing I was going to say was, you might wonder what sort of types of companies do apprenticeships. Across the SMB group, we work with all different sizes of companies, big multinational companies like Barrett's and Renault and people like that, and also smaller ones. You know, we sometimes have people who might be a one-man band, as long as they're a reputable company and the health and safety and everything is okay, which obviously we check out, then we can work with them to employ an apprentice. And some people prefer to be in a big company that's, you know, that's possibly got good progression routes and can give a very varied training. Some people prefer to be in a smaller company where you perhaps get a very intense sort of training, you know, from one or, you know, a couple of people. So there's all different sizes of companies in all different types of work. Is there anything else that needs answering, or?
Yeah, we've had a few more. Bear with me 1 second. Someone's asked, can they go straight in at a level 3, or do they have to do like a level 2 apprenticeship first and work their way up?
No, you can do a level 2 apprenticeship. It depends really on what your sort of grades are. For a level 3 apprenticeship, you would really need grade 4s, certainly in your English and maths. So you could go straight onto a level 3 apprenticeship, as long as you've got that eligibility criteria that it's asking for. So as I say, for a level 3, you could go into one, as long as you've got the educational level that supports that. And of course, you know, in the long term, there are level 4 apprenticeships, there's degree apprenticeships. So, you know, this is something that Debbie and I are saying, you don't have to rush on one at 16. You know, you could come and do a level 3 course with us at college. You could do A levels, and then you can go on to an apprenticeship later. So, you know, it's worth bearing that in mind. And all the different levels are all advertised on that National Apprenticeship website. That is the tool for looking for an apprenticeship. So you really do need to look at that. One thing I would just add with that is, do start looking around Christmas, even if you are a school leaver watching this. Some of the bigger companies, they do start recruiting sort of early in the year, because they recruit school leavers for a September start, particularly in construction. Some of your bigger companies might start doing that. So although most of them you will see on the National Apprenticeship website are for an immediate start, some of them will be looking sort of ahead for a start later in the year. So it's worth logging on to that. It's worth setting up an account, and it's worth doing it fairly soon, really. Is there anything, Debbie, you think needs adding to that? Or?
The only thing I would add would be with regard to the levels, what level it is. Sometimes it's not always about your academic ability or what grades you've got. Sometimes it can be about the actual role you're about to do as well. So for instance, some of our trades like plumbing and electrical, you do go straight in at level 3 there, so that's where you would need a good grasp of your English and maths. But some of the other ones like carpentry and joinery, or bricklaying, paint and decorating, regardless of whether you've got GCSEs or A levels, that's not probably really going to put you in the right place of where you need to be to build a wall or put a joist in the house or whatever. So that's where they will start you at level 2. Likewise, hospitality and the commis chef and things like that, again, that would be a level 2, just to get you those basic skills. So sometimes it's dependent on, as I say, what the job role entails. For instance, we also do construction in the built environment, which is where your civil engineers, your quantity surveyors are now. If you've done A levels and those A levels have been perhaps in maths or a science, then you might be able to go straight in at level 4 with the employer. Or it might be decided that actually be better to start at level 3 just to give you initial grounding. So it's very much a conversation between, obviously, firstly, depend on your academic, that you're meeting the requirements of the apprenticeship, but also what the job role entails, and a discussion between perhaps you, the training provider, and your employer as to what level we think you'd be best to start at. So that's where we go there. Anything else, Meg, for us?
Lovely, thank you. So, sorry, I'm on the wrong bit. Someone has asked, can mature students do apprenticeships? So like non-school leavers, is there an age limit on apprenticeships?
No upper age limit at all. And as Liz said, sometimes it's better if you don't go straight in at school level, or employers prefer it if somebody's got a little bit of life experience or a little bit of industry experience before they take them on. So there's no upper limit. I mean, we talk to people who are in their 20s, 30s, even occasionally 40s and beyond, who are looking for a career change. Sometimes you might have left school and you might have gone down one avenue and think, actually, I'm not really getting anywhere here, or I'm not enjoying it. I want a complete career change. So we do something. We have people who perhaps started in hospitality and now have decided they want to do construction, or somebody's doing an office role and they've decided they want to do something a little bit different. So there's no upper age limit at all. It does depend on obviously what you're wanting to do. The only thing to be aware of is sometimes obviously the wages, as we've said. Sometimes it might mean you taking a pay cut initially while you're obviously going your initial training. But again, employers do look to review that regularly, and if you're contributing to the company, they will obviously look to reward that. So but yeah, no upper age limit at all. You can do it up until retirement age if you want to. Anything to add on that, Liz? Have I missed anything?
No, I think I'm alive. Yeah. What I would say is, as Debbie said, really, that an apprenticeship is sometimes a good way to change course. If you are a bit older and if you've done something else before but you want to change of career, then an apprenticeship is a good way to do that. And in my experience, employers do really value people who have done something else before, really, who are a bit more mature and perhaps who've got some skills. And as we keep saying, it does help if you've done a course in a similar type of work. You could imagine if for example, if I just took something like joinery, if you were a company who was wanted to employ an apprentice joiner, if that young person had been to college and had done a diploma in that and knew the basic skills in that, it's going to be useful. So that's why, you know, we always say it is good to do that. But yes, you know, you can do an apprenticeship at any age. I mean, we have seen people in their 40s and 50s, and that's fine. You know, that's no problem. You don't have to rush onto an apprenticeship. So I'd sort of say, you know, with apprenticeships, really, to, you know, to sum up what we're saying, if you're interested in one, look on that National Apprenticeship website. If you're a school leaver, work hard on your English and maths. Get your CV together. If you want advice on how to do a CV, you can email us. We'll send you out a guide, a very clear guide on how to do one. Do send your CV out to employers. And if you are, you know, if you really are interested in considering one with the SMB group, get in touch with us. I think Meg's going to put the apprenticeships email on the screen, and we are hoping in the new year to invite people in who have shown interest. If we can't do that, talk to them virtually. But we will always advise. We will always give advice on the best way forward for you.
Can I just come back on the English and maths a minute, Meg? So for mature learner or people considering an apprentice, if you didn't do so well in your English and maths at school, then one of the things you can do is English and maths functional skill lessons are available free of charge at all of the campus, or certainly at Melton and Stevenson campus. So again, because that is one of the things that might stand in your way if you're a bit rusty on your English and maths and you didn't get your GCSE, or you haven't got your GCSE certificates to prove that you got those when you were back, you know, in school back in the day. So so there is something there if you want to improve on that, and by doing that, that does mean that actually once you're on the apprenticeship, or you can just concentrate on the subject you're studying rather than having to use part of your time in college by attending English and maths lessons. So yeah, I mean, we do initial assessments and aptitude tests. So if you do come along and you haven't got your certificates, or we can't get evidence of your grades, then we can give you an initial assessment to see what level you're working at. But as I say, if you did want to brush up on things beforehand, then also there are the free classes available at the campuses.
Can I just say quickly, yeah, with regard to the initial assessments, we're saying try and work hard to do the best you can for your English and maths, but we do assess people as well. So if you haven't got quite the right levels, we will give you that opportunity to be assessed. But it's always best if you've got the levels and then you've got them for life. Okay.
Lovely, thank you. We've not got any more questions, and that's kind of all we've got time for today, so it's gone very quickly. Thank you to everyone who joined us, and thank you very much to Liz and Debbie from our apprenticeships team for joining us here today as well. We hope you enjoy the rest of the virtual open day. If you do have any questions at all, I'll pop the apprenticeships email address in the chat so you can email the team.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.